Hello.
Hello!
We are live. We are doing reading, writing, whatever you want sprints, and I feel very lucky. I've had 2 Rosie days, one after the other, having a catch up with Rosie, and we're both going to do some writing. Are we writing? Is that what's happening?
I am writing. I have to write. So yes, I'm writing.
This is the face of the published author, isn't it? It's like trying to be published author is full of hope and kind of, I'm going to spend years crafting this beautiful piece, and the author writing publication is like, I just need to get this done and move on to the next thing. We still love it, don't we? But there's just that slight bit of the jaded quality is there too, and like it's just the need to get it done rather than the want to get it done.
Yeah, it's like it's more like not being able to wait until inspiration strikes and just being like, no, this is now a job. I have to do this. But I'm currently working on something I don't have to do. I'm working on something I want to do because it's an unsold manuscript that I really, really, really want to find a home for. So to do that, I need to finish it. And I have time limits on that because I need to start working for the next project I am actually contracted for at the end of the month. So this is I've got a few weeks to get what I can on this tidied up, and I'm loving it. It's really fun.
It sounds really good. I'm sorry you all can't hear, but I can confirm it sounds really good. Well, I told my agent about the thing that I told you about yesterday, Rosie, and she really likes it. So I think that might be the one that I go ahead with. But for anybody watching, I've been having a crisis of 3 different things I want to write all at the same time, and I just need somebody to tell me what to do. And this is where agents are really useful. They're like, this is the thing that is the most likely to sell, so do it. So she's got 2 other things for me to look at as well, so hopefully she can help me figure out. So I'm going to write a short story, which I've impulsively decided at the last minute that I absolutely need to write, as you do, to submit to an anthology. And what is the other thing I'm doing? Oh, and I'm also doing some of my freelance writing thing, which I also told Rosie a little bit about yesterday. Yeah. So Rosie's had all the insights. But yeah, so that is what I'm doing. 2 things that I can't particularly talk about. Rosie's doing something that she absolutely talk about, such is the way with publishing. Do you like talking about your stuff, Rosie? You know, like pre-publication, did you? Because I've never liked talking about what I'm working on. I know some people do.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's what I liked about the idea of being self-published is that I didn't have to answer to anyone. I didn't have to check. I could share a snippet or anything. I could just do what I wanted. But I mean, the benefits of being trad pub for me far outweigh being self-published. But like the project I'm working on now, like it's an adult fantasy. I can share certain little things about it because I haven't tried to sell it yet. It's not sold. It might not happen, but it might happen. But hopefully, if anything, it just builds the hype for the, what could be. But yeah, I wouldn't want to go into too much detail because it might change. It's still early days on it, really.
Yeah, I think that's what it is with me, that I don't like to share something until I'm really sure what it is. And even now, like the stuff that is going to be announced, I still don't want to even hint at it because it isn't fully the thing that it's going to be. It's not fully edited. It's not kind of gone all the way through the stages. So I just feel like, I don't know, it's a weird thing about ideas. I don't like sharing them apart from with really close friends until I'm really sure that they're going to be a thing. I don't know. It's almost like a superstition thing, I think. Like, I don't like to put it out there until it's fully ready.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I probably should be more like that. I'll just throw up an idea of my stories, but like, hey guys, not that I have time, but what if I wrote this meets this? Wouldn't that be fun? And people are like, yay, write it. And I'm like, it's like, I'm not on. Like, my schedule's full for the next 2 years, but maybe one day.
Ashlyn O'Loughlin is the best at that. She'll like casually, I'll say what you're working on, and sometimes she just panics and makes up a pitch for something that we absolutely love. And she came up with one called Slasherella that was like a slasher version of Cinderella. And everybody just went, can you just write it, please?
God.
You just came up with it off the cuff. I know.
We actually might need to bully them into writing that because that sounds amazing.
I mean, I just was in awe that she could do that because I feel like I'm good at writing. I'm not good with ideas. Like an idea takes ages for me. It comes as a little fragment, then I have to build another little fragment on. It doesn't come like this beautiful thing like Mia that I put the anthology together with. Mia can go, if you go, Mia, think of a story idea, she'll go, well, and then write a 2 or 3 page synopsis straight away of the thing that she's just thought of. I really can't do that. What are you like? Like, where do you fit between me having to tease it out of myself?
My brain fires off like 10,000 ideas a day. My risk is more being like distracted by stuff, but that's probably ADHD. Like it just being like, you should do this shiny thing over here or this shiny thing over here. For me, writing a whole synopsis of something, I mean, I can do it, but when I actually sit down and write it, it's going to change like a lot, because it's not until I do the writing that the story really comes together. And I have to feel my way through it. And I really want to be more of an architect and be able to really plan things and then stick to the plan, because I think it saves a lot of time and it saves a lot of stress, but that's just not how I am.
I can't think of good enough stuff in advance. Like the first idea I think of is generally not the right one. So I get a rough sense of where something is going, but I always change who the killer is. Apart from in book 1, in book 2 and 3, I changed my mind like 5 different times, which is quite good actually, because
that's so fun.
There's red herrings and there's clues because they might have been the killer at one point. Which is nice, because I think it was book 2 in particular, the person it originally was, and I changed really at the last minute. So there's lots of things seeding that it was this other person, and it quite often trips people up, because like it's quite obvious that it's that person, but is it them? And so I quite like my chaotic approach. So far it's worked for me. It does make for a bit stressful though. I love like Melissa Walliver's thing of she sort of plots it out in about a month, and then she just sits in a month and writes a whole book, and I'm like, how?
It would save me so much time. I can't do that.
I just want me to think of it all. I mean, I get the save the cat thing, like that it tells you like at this point you should be hitting a high point or a low point. I would just have a complete blank until I'm in it and writing it. I think.
But I think save the cat, like I love save the cat, and it's so perfect if you're tired. You just have it right there. But I think if you're in the flow, save the cat is something that we know instinctively because we've read so many stories, and I think all of us know it. Maybe we've never consciously thought about it, but I think anybody reading get to the end of a book where the pacing was not quite there, and then they'll be like, oh, that was unsatisfying, or oh, that didn't quite work for me, probably because the pacing was off. And chances are, and it's not quite following the save the cat, which is the Western storytelling tradition. And sometimes there's other things, but I do think we know it instinctively. So that's how you can just write, like discovery write, and try out different tangents. And you're going to have to edit it back to that structure, but your mind will automatically be like, I need a twist here, or I need this here, or I need that here, because you know it.
Yeah, I think when you've read hundreds, possibly thousands of books, and for me, because I read YA thrillers and horror so much, I think I do just get into the beats of them. And that's it, isn't it? I don't think I realized with the first book that I was following any kind of structure, but then when I read Save the Cat after that, I was like, maybe I actually already did this, I just didn't know. Let's see what the people in the comments are doing, and then I think maybe we should go to the first friend. I am also, the most important thing I'm going to be doing is cracking open the Easter egg. I'm probably going to get 2 Easter eggs. This is the one from my mum. Kev and I don't get each other them just because there's too much chocolate as it is. And then Kev's mum will get us one each. So I've got to polish off this Easter egg. Move on to the next one. Do you do Easter eggs? Are Easter eggs a thing in your house?
Not really. Like they were when we were kids, but no, don't really. We don't celebrate Easter as a religious holiday in our house. So, I mean, it's kind of just there. And normally, because I work in retail, I quite often am working the Easter weekend anyway. But I'm not this year, actually, at all.
Oh,
I will be on deadline.
I say it's not nice.
I say that like I'm not going to work tomorrow, but Fridays don't count.
Well, I mean, I've been saying this to Kev. I need to retrain myself, because sometimes, like, I'm not doing anything but writing in a day, and I'll say I'm not working today, and then I'm like, actually, I am working.
You literally are.
This
and
is
chances are you're doing like a 12 to 14 hour day.
Exactly. I do need to retrain my mind. So I think because it started as a hobby, and I just called it like writing stories to myself, like that's what I still think of it as. Like I'm just doing a hobby that I get paid for now. Right, let's go to the comments. Hi Adrian. Hi Sharon. Hi Kirsty. I love how everybody then just says hi to each other.
I know, it's so nice.
Oh, this is where I start to twitch, because Kirsty's reading my book. I'm glad she's not on screen reading my book. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Yeah, Kirsty's doing this lovely vampire book club that started off with an Olivia Blake book. You might be able to tell me the title of it, Rosie. I've forgotten it. What's the Olivia Blake?
It's got the blue thing.
Is it Masters of Death? Is that right?
Yeah, something death in it. I can see the cover in my head. It's like a kind of...
I think it might be Masters of Death. Yeah. So that was the January read. And then February, March, April, they're reading the Mina book. So they read February, Mina 1. What month are we on? March, Mina 2. And then April, when Mina 3 comes out, that's what they're reading. Oh gosh, there's so many comments. Sorry, my comments have just helpfully jumped right to the end. So let's go back up to where we were. Hi, Paula. Ooh, the Haunted Victorian Book Club is so fun. I read The Phantom of the Opera for that. That was weird. Have you read The Phantom of the Opera, Rosie?
No, I've only ever seen the movie.
I haven't seen the movie. I do need to watch it because I enjoyed it, but it's very strange. And it's, you know, some classics, you read them and you're like, oh, it just went off on this tangent and that tangent. And some of the characters are just not as well developed as they could be. But I think a lot of the film versions have kind of tidied up some of the stuff that was a bit weird about the book. I sort of would recommend reading it, but it's not my favorite classic.
I mean, I just remember from the movie, I just couldn't work out why she wanted to go for the prince when she could live under the theatre with a creepy Gerard Butler and like have a cool boat with the smoke. And I'm just like, I mean, no contest.
He's a little bit wet in the book
making the wrong decision. Is he creepy and stalker-ish and a complete red flag? Yes. But at that era, show me a man who wasn't, you know?
See, the book version.
Run away with her very cute female best friend, which should have been an option, but alas was not. Why would she choose the Phantom?
Yeah, I mean, the cute female best friend too sounds like a good option to me. But yeah, in the book, the boyfriend is not great. He's just not very interesting. The Phantom in the book is more monstrous. Like does he have a face made of fire or eyes that are fire or something? He's very like demonic in the book. So I don't know what that
makes him sound better, frankly.
Well, I was going to say, does that make him more or less appealing?
Not off-putting. It's like, that's useful if you don't have a torch and his eyes can light the way.
This is true. He might incinerate you with his gaze, but, you know, helpful for seeing in the dark. Hi, Chloe. I don't know why I'm like singing everybody's names. I'm feeling tired, so I'm getting like a little bit hyperactive. Ooh, I have heard of that. Is that the one with the really cool cover? Did he go to Yalk? All these things are slightly ringing bells.
Yes, he did. So All That's Left in the World is about two boys falling in love in an apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
They go on a road trip to find... Well, they go for multiple reasons, but they kind of go on this road trip together through apocalyptic America to reunite with people / find a cure / deliver a message / get away from scary people who want to steal their tins of beans. Very good.
I don't know if you're going to say brains then, but tins of beans.
No, beans. And other canned goods.
Okay, got it.
But it's very lovely.
Oh, I need to read that. Sounds really good. Excellent. This is the Y Book Club pick for this month. I have it here somewhere as well, that if I finish all the other chaotic things I'm doing. Hi, Colette.
I have a copy of the invocations right here. I have the proof.
Oh, that's so gorgeous. Is that a proof?
Yeah, that's the proof. That's how it came.
Very nice. Mine is the Fancy Purple Edges Waterstones.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, I took my bookmark out earlier. Do you ever do this? Do you film a TikTok, take your bookmark out, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah. I made Crystal sign mine when I saw it. I was like, sign it, please. Even though it's a proof. I have got a finished copy, but I was like...
I've actually met her, you know. Maybe
that she was watching your Yelp.
Oh, yeah, she was in my Yelp panel, and like she'd left Yelp before I realised that she was even there. Like she tweeted, like, look, I'm on stage watching some lovely authors, and I just missed her. I think maybe I met her back in the day, like when I was blogging and stuff, but I don't think I've met her in recent years. We've chatted quite a bit. Hope everybody else enjoys it as much as Sharon did. Yes, eventually you'll hopefully get to find out about them when we get our fancy book deals for them. There's a lot of invocations readers in the chat tonight. This is good. Krista will be pleased. Hi.
Invocations.
Oh no, that's not helpful. I wonder if it's the sunshine. We've had this some summers. I'm waiting for it to happen in our house as well. Yay! Oh, speaking of post-apocalyptic, we've summoned Han. He's working on hers. Excellent. I feel like 1K is a good amount. If I'm really tired and haven't got time to write, but I do need to draft something. 1K is the amount I try and write in a day, because I just feel like in 80 days I have a book, so that's exciting.
Yeah, it still feels like a kind of, and it really still feels like an achievement, doesn't it? Like you've done a good amount of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think particularly if you're writing YA, if you think about it, 1K could be a short chapter or a good chunk of a chapter, because chapters tend to be shorter, so it just feels quite satisfying.
Definitely. Oh, sorry, Sharon. There's lots of not sleeping going on in the chat tonight. Oh, sorry if we lose you, Adrian, at some point. Hopefully you can catch up later. They are getting expensive. Particularly this Hotel Chocolate one, but my mum paid for that, so no surprise there. Oh, no, I wonder if it is the storms causing internet problems. Yeah, 3 for a tenner. That sounds like what I would be paying for. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's the only part of Easter that I do celebrate, admittedly. Holy chocolate. Oh, Galaxy egg sounds yummy. Oh, are we starting some chocolate controversy? Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to say no. Are you a chocolate fan, Rosie? I don't know whether... I feel like you fed me popcorn before. Is that one of your snacks of choice?
Yeah, like I do like chocolate, but I have to be in the mood for it.
Yeah. We've eaten the donuts together too, haven't we? Do you remember the donuts in London that cost like £6 each?
I love a donut. I love like baklava, or like kind of like the nutty honey pastry type stuff. And
if you ever come to Doncaster, there's a really good place that sells like amazing kind of chocolate baklava. It's really good.
And I like a bit of chocolate, but I'm probably more of a savoury food person than a sweet food person. But because of my allium issue, I end up eating a lot of sweet things, particularly out, because that's the one thing I know won't have onion in it. So I'll eat a lot of cake, and I do like it, but I wouldn't say it's my favourite thing. I'd rather have it.
It's sad that, like, sorry, I was going to say that's sad. It's not your favourite, but you sort of end up having it because of
to
eat onion.
But I mean, good cake is good cake, but I would like to be able to eat less sugar generally than I do.
I think that's generally good for everyone, isn't it? But I do rather like it. I mean, I like Paula's idea. Just need a reading light. It's a bit dark. Just wake the phantom up. Try not to get him to incinerate the bedclothes. What book are we reading? I'm totally there's too many comments. I can't remember. That have context, that's just made me laugh. Hungry Lions just being freed into the book. Like, go free, lions. I said fly free. I'm so tired, Rosie. I'm like, you just need to keep me on track tonight.
It's okay. We're going to power through. We have... Oh, hi, kitten.
Oh, look. Is that Captain Haddock?
That is Tinkerfluff.
Oh, Tinkerfluff. I don't...
Fluffy Glory.
Do you have 2 cats?
We do. We have Captain Haddock. She's the tuxedo cat.
Ah, yes.
She's sitting on the chair over there. She might come and say hi, but she looks quite settled right now.
Oh, the post-apocalyptic book, got it. I was like, are you still reading that rom-com? Because if so, that's really weird that lions just been freed.
That is 100% what you need in a rom-com, is a random hungry lion scene.
I think they could only be improved. Mia did ask me how I was getting on with a rom-com that I was reading the other day, and I was like, well, there haven't been any murders or vampires yet, so I'm a little bit disappointed, but otherwise I'm fine. I do enjoy rom-coms if they're really well written and like if I'm in the mood, but I do tend to crave a little bit of like the paranormal and blood and gore. Yeah, Kev was just saying that if you can hear rustling noises, he's wrapping books that people have ordered from me, because I sell dedicated books on my website, because people always ask if they're not going to an event how they can get a dedicated one. So I was like, well, I might as well sell them. So Caroline, I will be signing your book. If you're still on, I'll show you it later when I get to it. Okay, let's do a sprint. So we'll probably do 2 40-minute ones and a 30-minute one. And Rosie, for any point you just need to go and do some sleeping, that is absolutely your prerogative.
Kitty helping. Hi, Kitty.
I will be here till about 10 p.m, but I possibly won't be writing and editing all that time.
I'm going to aim to be here all the way through as well, but we'll see. I think at some point the cats will demand food, but my husband should be getting home at some point. So if he comes through the background, just everybody wave.
We're used to seeing random husbands. I'm sitting in a slightly different place today. Kev is really tall, as Rosie knows, so he has to kind of do a commando-like movement to stay off shot if he's not appropriately clothed. Although he has like shown off his Christmas pajamas that he's usually wearing on sprints before. So I'm wearing Christmas pajamas as well. I'll just show you because you're probably going to see them accidentally at some point. I am wearing Christmas moose pajamas. What's the plural of moose? Mooses? Anyway.
Everyone loves a meese. A meesey moose.
Right, I'm going to put on the 40-minute timer and we will see you on the other side. Hello.
Hello.
Did the cat scare any actual cats in your house, or are we all right?
Tinky, are you bothered? She's so unbothered. She's so unbothered.
Excellent.
The cat is bothered. Hold on. You haddock. Were you bothered? Nah, she wasn't bothered.
Your
She's
cat's
got a flirty tail, which means you have snacks.
Oh, the cats are used to being on camera, and they're very cool creatures, aren't they? Like nothing seems to faze either of them.
They're pretty chill. Oh, Tinks is moving. Hold on. Timmy, you want to come say hi? Wait.
Oh, look, this is where we're all distracted by the kitty.
That's lovely.
She's like, I'm famous again. Look at my
so unimpressed.
She really does.
This is her go-to face of haughty unimpressedness.
So cute. Have they been all right since she moved? Do they now know where they live and all is well?
Yeah. Yeah, they're okay.
Good. Okay. Do they go outside?
They do go outside, although this one doesn't really like going outside that much.
I'm with you, Tinkerfloof. I would be an indoor kitty.
Yeah, I think in the summer they'll go out more because it won't be as wet.
Yeah. So how did that go?
Yeah, I mean, I worked the whole time. I am so basically when I say I'm writing, I'm actually editing, but it's a good 50% rewrite, if not more. And I'm just, it's 150,000 words. It needs to be 120. I don't like the beginning third, so that's kind of getting chopped off and completely rewritten. So I'm just piecing things together, and I'm changing the whole thing from past tense to present tense. So it's a lot of, so I'm writing a scene where one of the characters wakes up after having been injured, and the entire setting has changed, and she's at the, and there's just a lot to get in. And I'm thinking to myself, like, when you wake up, I don't want it to take 2 pages for there to be dialogue, but she's got so much to kind of think through and it's thinking about what order would she genuinely think things in? Like, what order, if you wake up after almost dying, do you go, like, do you notice the pain first? Are you worried about the location, who you're with? Like, all these things kind of.
And there's got to be a degree of sort of incoherence, hasn't there? And figuring out, like, not knowing everything in one go, which is useful because you can reveal that to the reader as she works it out. It's weird because the thing that I'm not working on tonight, but like what is probably going to be my next project, I think I was probably writing it at a similar time to you were writing that when we first met at Yalk. And I had to put it to one side because of the Mina books. I suddenly didn't have time. So it's just been sitting there. So this is the first time I've ever written something and had so many years to kind of let it be. And I think my writing has improved since then, but maybe not absolutely loads. It's still, you can tell I wrote it still, I think. But like you, I think probably just most of it needs rewriting. Like the writing needs polishing, even the bits that are good. And then there's just whole scenes that are just like, you can tell that little me was starting to write a book was just thinking, I don't know what this scene is about, so I'm just going to write words until I fill the chapter, which is not really helpful to now present me.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I have a version of the scene I love, but it's not relevant to who the character is now. So she wouldn't, she was very much the character who didn't know about magic, who you as a reader were introduced to magic through her perspective as she learned that she's actually part of this magical world. And of all of the 4 points of view in the book, she was always the hardest to find because she's a little bit of a flat, like pancake, or kind of the one that the reader's supposed to kind of put themselves into.
Yeah.
And I decided as much as there's a place for that in fantasy, I've just got so much more I want to do with her. So the biggest change in the entire book is that she 100% knows who she is, and she doesn't know everything, but she certainly knows she's part of this magical world. In fact, she's been running from various enemies in it for a very long time. So although her actual desire for a home, it hasn't changed, what she knows is completely different, and it really has changed her personality. So before she was this kind of wide-eyed, innocent, sort of younger person who everybody wants to protect. Now she's the one who wakes up, snatches a knife off the sideboard, and threatens everybody's life before they try and talk her down. Like she's a very, you know, she's actually suffered a lot more already by this point than her previous version had. So yeah, it's just like rewriting the scene with the new Delphi to like, well, what is she going through? And it's weirdly a challenge, and it's very much killing my darlings, because I was like, I spent so much time writing this scene and now I'm scrapping. But it's weird, so I'm ready. Yeah.
Sometimes it helps when it exists because you've at least got a framework, but then it can kind of like still your creativity a bit, because you kind of, it's there, but you know it's not right, and you could just leave it as it is. But I think she sounds so much more interesting now and less passive.
She's just more interesting, and I think as well, part of the reason the book is so long is because we spend so long learning about the world, the complex world building through her, whereas now when I'm rewriting it, it's much more, there's less exposition, and you just have to kind of get it. And I'm still putting bits of exposition in because I kind of need to, otherwise we'll all be confused. But you know, you still learn about the magical world through her, but no more or less than any of the other characters. So they're all in different aspects of it. So it's just a different approach, and I'm hoping I can cut a good 30,000 words off. But
I'm sure you can, because if she isn't needing to learn about it and she knows it, the reader will have to glean it from how she's behaving, won't they? And through the stuff that she's saying, which I find more fun in fantasy. And like you said, I'm the fantasy reader who needs a little bit of exposition because I don't read lots of fantasy, but I can totally follow. I mean, Rosie gave me the full rundown, and I'm confident in this world. It sounds brilliant and very kind of richly imagined and realised, and still very you. I think that's the thing, when you kind of make a step in a different direction, it's good for your author brand, isn't it, that it still feels like you. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's still completely brutal, so it's on brand.
It's like, what do you call your clothes, like Victorian cupcake, tea cake? I don't remember which one.
Tea cake.
And you seem so sweet, and yet
I am not. How did you get on with yours? Did you get much done?
Yeah, so I started off, I'd left last night, I left last night at what I think is going to be the scariest bit of the story. And I was like, it's really late, I don't want to write something really gross and scary, so I stopped. And then I came to it tonight and went, oh, do I want to write anything gross and scary? So it took me a little while to get, because I don't know, I think I'm more about atmosphere in the Mina books, and like creepy and readers filling in the gaps. And then, there's a bit of gore. Whereas this, I want to be quite visceral, and it's not my natural way of writing, and I really know what I want it to be, but it isn't it yet. But I'm kind of, do you ever just push through and you know it isn't quite right? Because normally I try and make it right as I go along, but I think this I need to push through and then make it scarier afterwards. So there's probably some frowning and like, I don't think this is very good, but I'm going to write it anyway.
Just get something down, because you can always tighten it up a lot later, and you know, or just put in brackets gross description of wound here, you know.
And then accidentally send it with that in, and they're like, is this some weird like postmodern fourth wall lifting genius story? Maybe I should just like imagine the worst thing you can imagine here. The reader would probably do a really good job.
I did put quite a lot of gore in 12 Bones. So I feel like
did.
I have practice now, but 12 Bones is quite heavy on the gore.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I liked the murders in this one. They were that creative. They were just kind of like splat, weren't they? I like murders, they're quite splatty.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, how many people can I kill in this book? Get away with it. It's a lot. It's a high body count, actually.
I like that. I think when it's really good to do it in a second or third book, when you really care about the characters and you're rooting for them surviving, I think that's when you can really go to town, and it's really fun for the reader because they're just protecting their little darlings and being like, no, Rosie, don't. And then you, to some extent, did it anyway. No spoilers here, but you know.
Yeah.
I like it when authors go there. I think you've got to, because, sorry anybody who's not read Me in the Cult yet, but you've got to kill some darlings, because if they've been through so much, it's not realistic for all of them to make it.
Yeah, it's kind of how I felt. It's kind of how I feel about this quartet. Actually, and I'm like, I don't want to lose any of them. I have plans for them all. So I don't know, we'll see. But I mean, I'm planning it as a trilogy. So, but I don't know if you do this, but like, I'm planning it as a trilogy, and I know exactly who the antagonistic forces in each book and how all those antagonistic forces interlink. And I know the dilemma that the characters are going to be facing in book 3, like the ultimate. I do not know how they're going to react. I do not know what decision they're going to make. And I don't know if I'll know until I get there because I don't know.
I think that is the stuff. I tend to plan in quite broad strokes, and then exactly what my characters do within it is what I really enjoy. And I find that things like motives, like say the killers, I often know roughly why they've done it, but really pinning down that motive is one of the last things I've done in every single book so far. Each Mina book, the baddie's motive has been the final thing I've had to really firm up, because I just think like what the protagonist does and their agency counteracted with the antagonist's why they're doing what they're doing is so important. Like it just really needs to be airtight, and I think that comes later. I think that the way you write, you'll kind of figure it as you go.
Yeah, I'm on their motivation. Like I know. I mean, basically, they're given an impossible decision. It's that classic decision of save the world or change the world.
Yeah.
Versus save the people you love, except that this then has like a completely different moral twist on it, but I can't tell you too much or it would spoil like
no
trilogy. But it's sort of it's very big picture stuff that is kind of it's basically stated in book 1. There's a character who says to Delphi, like, the reason that everybody wants to kill you is because you will break open the world and hell will fall out, and that's not good for anybody. And she's like, I would never do that. And then by book 3, she's like, maybe I should, because actually I have good reasons to. And so, her arc and her shift in perspective is really, I'm having fun with it. I'm looking forward to writing these other 2 books.
That's really good.
I don't know. I do not know right now if she is going to deliberately break the world, or if she's going to be like, you know what, better not. Better not. Even despite the fact that there are definitely good reasons to. Maybe the probable death of like a hell of a lot of people is just too much.
It just depends, isn't it? I mean, I could recommend lots of things to you where people have that kind of dilemma, some of which you probably already read. I'm sure you're aware of the Game of Thrones angle of that. There's a character who goes through an interesting arc. Have you ever watched or played The Last of Us?
No, I'm not a video game person. I've seen bits of the TV show, but again, me sitting down and watching an actual TV show.
Yeah.
I don't have a TV. I have a laptop that I'm on right now and a tablet, and I will occasionally watch something on Netflix, but I have so little time that I tend to go to reading before I go to like studying stuff.
The reason I mention it is that the main character is kind of at the beginning like a gruff, kind of grumpy guy who is just trying to survive in this post-apocalyptic world, and he does end up, it's not much a spoiler to say, I don't think, that he ends up looking after a young girl, and he ends up with those sorts of decisions like, do I save this one person that I really care about, or do I save lots of people? And I always find that so interesting. It's like superhero movies do it a lot of the time, don't they? Like Mary Jane's dangling from a wet, bad guy's web or whatever, and then you've got a bus full of people, and which one does he save? And the answer is Spider-Man, both of them, but that's not the case.
It's that philosophical, the trolley dilemma, isn't it? Like,
what's the trolley dilemma?
It's like I don't know which philosopher kind of designed it, but it's this moralistic discussion point where if you've got a tram or a trolley traveling down a set trackway, and there's somebody you love, I can't remember which way around it goes, but it's like if there's somebody that you love on the track, you have a switch that will divert the trolley that you're on to a different track, but on that track are 10 innocent children. Which is the right decision? Should you sacrifice strangers but innocents to save somebody you love and care for? And there's often it's done of like one or many. It's like, do you switch the trolley to kill one or to kill many? And then people will be like, often people are like, oh, the one, because the majority, you'd be saving the most number of lives. And then the philosopher will say, okay, well, that person is your mother. that one person is your mother, would you kill 10 strangers to save your mother, like one person you love? And how that changes people's perspective. And there's no right answer. It's just a philosophical discussion point to kind of, but it's quite a famous.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I haven't heard of it described in those terms, but yeah, I've heard the basic principle of that. You're kind of a terrible person, whichever one you pick. So
yeah, like there isn't. It's just an awful situation to be in.
Not a good choice. There.
Yeah. But it's used a lot in books and superhero stuff, and like, you know, it's a tried and tested thing.
I'm now like playing that through my brain of it. I quite like that in a book. Like I like as well, like main characters having to make a sacrifice. Like a book I've just read quite recently had that thing of like main character having to put themselves in a horrible situation just to make the world they live in more stable. And I like that as well. Like strong, virtuous kind of, usually a heroine in these books because it's YA and you know, women often write these books that I read, but I like the young woman stepping in and kind of saving the world thing. I've been into that since I was a little girl watching Buffy. I mean, I think lots of rom-coms could, to be honest. I think
in fact there should be more lions in all books.
I think that could be a philosophical debate right there. Like I know that in our like author groups, quite often, if any of us get stuck, like it's like we're just going to kill somebody off because that's the types of books most of us write. But I mean, you could also kill somebody off or introduce a pack of lions and see if that improves the scene any.
Talking lions, like in the library at Mount Shar, which is an amazing book, by the way, if anybody wants to read it. But trigger warnings for pretty much everything, almost everything.
It kind of makes me want to read it.
It's heavy. It's one of the weirdest books I've ever read, but also one of the most brilliant books I've ever read. And it's very ambitious. And there are things it succeeds in and things perhaps it doesn't. But that doesn't, for me, like change the fact that I love it. It's really good. Would 10 out of 10 would recommend. But again, and there are talking lines in it. But yeah, trigger warnings. Check the trigger warnings first.
Sorry, I got distracted by Ed walking.
By Ed feeding the cat.
But yeah, I was enjoying the talking lines. I'm just mulling over whether I need to add that to my TBR for next month, but I don't need to buy any more books. I need to behave. Yeah, I mean, Grey's Anatomy does tend to do stuff like that. Like it's got a little bit boring. Let's just have a giant ship crash into the area near the hospital and like we need to save all these people. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy know how to stir things up. That is the best thing to be wearing, Sharon. As you know, my little person would very much approve of penguins.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't gatekeep the Christmas pajamas. Nice, Paula. Oh, thank you. Yay. Kev's very clever. He lists my stuff everywhere. If you want to find my books, you will find them even in random places like Etsy, and Kev magically manages it all. This is everybody reading the invocations. Let's see what chapter. Oh, no, I lost my page, didn't I? I don't know what chapter I'm up to. I need to find out at some point. Nice. Are you enjoying it, Chloe? It sounds like something I want to read. Yes, same, Paula. I don't think I own it yet. It sounds really good. No worries, Kay. I totally get it. I would like more naps in my life. I'll check what chapter I'm up to. I'll see if I'm with you. I think I might be slightly ahead of you. Can get this book read by Sunday. Just send virtual high fives. It's all good. Yay! Everybody is actually reading this book. No gasp. Oh, were you gasping at me killing people off? Possibly. Me and Rosie like it. You should know this by now about us. We like to make you love people and then like wipe them off the face of the earth. Hi. Hello. We are. I mean, we're making each other giddy, I think, and enjoying our writing. So yeah. Honestly, I feel like it should just be a parcel. Like when you get your publication deal, you just get one. Who does like? Yeah. I do my own social media. I have to say I'm not that much of a diva, but anything that involves tech, Kev does, and he's just put like 50 lots of Mina swag into little envelopes to send out to people. So bless him. And to take to I nearly said a place that I'm going that hasn't been confirmed yet. A place that I'm going soon that hasn't been announced yet. I tend to try and give so many out to people when I go places. Excellent. I really need to read it very urgently. I should have gone to Yelp. Why did I not do that? I do this every time I go to Yelp. I'm like, oh, the author's here. I should totally get their book and get them to sign it. And then the weekend passes by and I'm like, oh, just miss them. But yeah, I am going to Yelp regardless. That's not the thing I've been invited to. I don't know about that yet, but I'm going to go.
Oh, I will go to, yeah. I mean, I think I get to go to Yelp as an author this year. I don't know. I don't know if my publishers put me forward or anything, but I'll go anyway. I go every year anyway, so I'll be there making a nuisance of myself.
Same, because I've been to all of them. I can't miss any at this point. Exactly. I'm going to be going to Yelp, I think, when I'm old and grey. Hopefully, if it's still going by then. But yeah. Okay, let's do. I'm going to jump onto another thing now. Are you doing the same thing, or are you?
I think I'm going to go back to this chapter because, like you said, it does already have a structure. I just need to, even if I'm just making notes for myself of what it needs to become. So I think I'm going to give that a shot. And then when I get a bit tired later, one of the jobs I have to do is go through and just swap everything from third person to present, past tense to present tense. So I'll jump to a point later in the book where I know there'll be edits, but I can just at least swap things over and have a think about it.
That's a really good idea.
Much brain power.
Yeah, save the easier things for later in the day because I quite often do them first because they're fun and not too taxing. And then I'm like, oh, I should have done that when I was actually, not done it when I was awake.
Yeah. But also, I mean, I haven't read this book cover to cover for literally 5 years. So I remember it really well, but I'm kind of discovering things. I'm like, yes, gosh, that's not going to work if I change this and all that. So I'm, trying to make it work and decide what I want to leave the same or what I want to change.
Do you write a chapter outline? Because what I'm planning to do with this one is write a chapter outline of how it is and then a chapter outline of what I want it to be, I think, alongside each other on a spreadsheet. That's my plan.
I kind of started trying to do that, but my brain just wanders off. Yeah. And until I write the scene, and as I write the scene, I logically think it through. I think through what would the character know, what would they be thinking, and then I might as well just do that, and then I can start to copy and paste. It's more like the order of things with the different points of view.
Yeah.
And one of the points of view. The last point of view, basically, you only got him sporadically in the original draft, and I want to have his point of view more regularly. So I need to actually give him more page time, but then I need to take that word count from somebody else.
Yeah. Are you sort of roughly alternating them, or are you doing it when that bit of the story needs to be told?
I'm kind of doing whoever needs to tell. So at the beginning in the rewrite, it alternates 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. But then as the story keeps going, you start to so Delphi's unconscious for 3 days, so you don't get her point of view.
Kind of don't want to just have 3 days of that.
You do. The characters discover other things during that time, and
that's good.
So yeah, I mean, it'll either work or it won't. We'll find out.
It sounds like you have it fully under control, and you've got till the end of April, did you say? So that's
I
know you. You wrote a whole book in that time last year.
I know, but I don't know. This just something about this book that just I find hard, and I think it's just because I've rewritten it. It's the first book. It's the only other book I've ever written, and I've rewritten it 10,000 times, and it's so tightly woven together, but it's not what I want it to be. That I have to unravel it before I can re-ravel it, and. Yeah, but I'm already loving the changes I've made. It's definitely a lot sexier. It's a lot darker. It's a lot. I'm swapping it from what was a kind of YA crossover into something firmly adult. So
yeah, that sounds really exciting.
Yeah, I'm having fun,
and you're loving it. So that's the main thing that will keep you going. You should. I really think you should. I go every time, and some years I have a total buzz about it, and others I'm a bit more it was okay, and it just doesn't gel as much. But since I've been doing them as an author, it's just felt like absolute magic. So I just want to keep doing that. Yay! Oh, it was so lovely. I got to meet Paula and hang out a little bit, and yeah, it was really, really fun. It falls on your birthday. That's awesome. We believe in you, Rosie. You can 100% do this. And on that note, we're all pumped up. Let's do another sprint. Do another 40 minutes. I'm going to jump onto another project, which should be a little bit less frowning on this one. So might actually be smiling while I'm writing this time. Is a bit easier. So I'm going to pop the timer on and we will see you in a little while. Hello.
Oh.
How did it go?
Yeah, good. I am getting tired, so I skipped to a scene and I'm basically reading it, deleting things that are not relevant anymore, and writing lots of notes in the margins of what needs to go in there instead, and just kind of logically thinking things through.
That sounds very, very good. I think I wrote like over 1,000 words, which for me is pretty good in 40 minutes. Just kind of flowed quite nicely, so that was good. So I feel like I've got to a decent point tonight, so I'm going to go and help Kev with some book packaging in a sec, because he can only do so much. He can't sign and personalize them for me. That would just be silly.
Well, yes, that wouldn't quite work, would it?
No. And he's in little packs, but I kind of like putting it all together and stuff, because it's like, it's my baby. I like to kind of send it off out into the world. So hopefully, if anybody hears, I think a few people here have ordered them. I'm going to be sending those out on Saturday morning, so people should get them early next week. So you'll get them a couple of days early. Although so many Waterstones orders have gone out, and you have it in the shop today.
Yeah, it just arrived today.
Yeah, I had a little check. I hate doing that, because it's just, like it's either really good for your ego or not good for your ego, just to see if it was in stock in like on the Waterstones website, you can see. And it's in stock in loads of them already. I was like, what? I didn't realize the website got updated so kind of promptly before publication. That's wild.
Yeah, it does. It's pretty up to date. As soon as stock arrives in store, it should, the click and collection option is there.
Yeah, I was sampling it today, and I like how the app says plenty available as well. It's nice to see that lots of shops have got it, presumably on tables, if it's plenty available. So I just hope, it's nice that your shop have got book 1, 2, and 3. I don't know whether you found that with 12 Bones, but sometimes I go in and I'm like, oh, I'll sign 10 Mina and the Slayers, and they've got no Mina and the Undead. So it's an awkward one, isn't it? That if a new reader comes, they're not gonna find.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I'm in my Waterstones, the YA section is my baby, and I always try to make sure that I have complete series in as much as possible. It's not always possible, but I certainly or if I can't have the complete series, if the series is a few years old, then I'll try and have the first one and the most recent one at least, because then people who are following the series can pick up the most recent one, and people who are new to the series can pick up the first one. I think it's hard when you just have books 2 or 3 or books 4, and then it doesn't always work in terms of stock numbers, but I try and request, particularly if it's a popular series or a kind of but then things like Cassandra Clare, where she just has so many books.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when they're a little bit easier to get, like hers, I imagine you can walk into WH Smith's or maybe the Works even in some cases, and
and get them.
They've got the box sets and stuff, haven't they? So I think it's much appreciated for us indie folk to have the series there. And I really like with manga too, Waterstone's always really good, and it's a manga series and it's 50 books or something. If there's a book 1 there, or the book 1, 2, and 3, say, it's super helpful if you're just trying to get into it, because you don't want book 48. You want to kind of start.
Yeah, you want the first one. So we try our best, but I mean,
we appreciate
stock
it.
is always changing because people are buying things and they're coming back in and coming, So yeah, can't always guarantee we'll have it, but we can usually get it.
Well, and it's always nice. I don't mind if I walk in and they go, we've got none, but I can see that there are 3 on order or something. I'm like, fine, I'm really happy with that. It means that they've sold, so that's a good news situation. I remember the first twice that I tried to go to Waterstones Piccadilly, it was around Halloween, because the bookshops have been shut in the April. It just opened around the Halloween, I think, and I was like, I'm going to go and meet my book in Waterstones Piccadilly. And I tried twice and they just kept saying it just kept selling out. And I was like, well, I'm sad, but also I'm happy. And I did manage, I think, on the 3rd time to actually see it there. Because that feels like it's the flagship, isn't it? It's the big place to see. I need to try and get down to London, because a lot of London ones look like they have it. And I'm like, oh, I can just do a little signing tour. I just set these up for myself. Kevin and Nathan are really good, although Nathan does want something in every Waterstones, and I'm like, you can't have
a whole Jellycat collection. You're like, there's
one. Well, it was the penguins. He got the tiny penguin, which was fine, but then like about 20 Waterstones later, brainwashed him that he needed the big penguin. So eventually we had to succumb and buy like the 30 quid penguin. And I think it actually was because he was probably only 2 at the time, and he did suck the beak of one. And I was like, oh, after saying no lots of times, I think you've just bought yourself that penguin. Don't make a habit of like sucking beaks of penguins to get your way, but I will buy you that particular one. Yeah, he likes the section, you know, with all the stuff that you can rattle and shake and squeeze as well. Whoever designed that section is a genius, because it's just perfect. It's like at head height. He wants to play with everything in it, squash everything in it, become incensed. He always gets cross, you know, the dinosaur with the squashy, don't know if it's meant to be a tongue. Like there's a squashy dinosaur thing, and he always goes and checks if any of them have got the ball missing, and then he's outraged on your behalf when somebody's pulled the ball out.
Yeah, I know the ones where you squeeze the dinosaur head and some kind of weird goop comes out. They are weird, but they're very popular.
I know, and but often people, I think, pull the ball thing out, and Nathan always checks for you. So many Waterstones have been checked that there are no
he's on it.
I nearly said dinosaur balls. That was probably the wrong thing to say.
Yeah,
my son checks for that. I'm going to go to the comments before I talk myself into something really silly. Yay! Hooray! Please, Sharon. It's so nice to meet you. I feel like I already have met you in person, but I've probably missed you, Chloe, but if we haven't, it was lovely to see you. Oh, hooray! I love the Candyman bit. That took so much rewriting, so if you enjoyed it, you're welcome, because I find it really hard, like, writing a kind of fake version of something and making it still feel a bit scary. And, like, I didn't want to introduce real bees. That seemed dangerous. So it's like, how can I have fake bees that are still a bit scary? Oh, for Sharon as well. I do this every time in sprints. Like, lovely people disappear on us. If we haven't missed you, Sharon, goodbye. But if you're still here, if not, I'm just talking to myself. Getting sleepy. Let's do a 20-minute sprint just to wrap this off, because I do really need to sign some books. Do you think you can manage another 20?
I can manage another 20 minutes, and then I shall get ready for bed.
Fabulous. It's been lovely. I feel like you've created some kind of magic where I've been mega productive tonight, which is really good. I don't know whether you do this, where after you've been on a really hard deadline, do you then have like a mega slump for a little while where you like your brain doesn't work?
Your brain's just tired. Like, it's just your creative well is dry and you're burnt out and you need to refill. Like,
that was me most of February. I did some plotting, but I just couldn't write. I couldn't write words. I couldn't write in sentences. I could plot stuff out. And then it's just come back during March, like where I'm doing that thing again, where I'm writing as fast as I can think. And I love that. That's where I like to be. I just need to remember and try not to lose it again. But as we've said, you can't help it when you're on a deadline.
No, you got to get there. Like, yeah, just somehow it has to get done. So, but I think it's worth sometimes when you know, even though you're on deadline, to kind of take a couple of days off and refresh yourself.
Yeah.
You'll come back stronger and you will ultimately get more done.
Yeah, I've never done that before, and I think I need to remember it, like, because at the moment I'm kind of on it. I need to trickle feed a few things to keep them on track, but I'm not on a really strict deadline for anything. It's coming. I'm waiting for in the next few weeks. I think the next big thing's going to hit, so I probably need to just keep other things ticking over in that time. Oh, a little person just squeaked upstairs. I'm going to put the timer on, go and see a little person, and then we'll do 20 more minutes.
Let's do it.
Bye. Hello. The taping noises Kathy's assured me is just finishing this one. So if you can hear her sound like ripping, it's just sellotape. How did you get on?
Yeah, just did a bit more. It's a lot of work. It's basically, even though I'm probably keeping about half, each scene has to be completely rewritten because, you know, my style of writing has changed, the voices have changed. Like, even though some of the same stuff might happen in a scene, it still needs to be stripped right back. And so, yeah, I know I've got a month, but it's not going to get done in time. It's 150,000 words, but I'm going to do as much as I can.
Yeah, it's not essential, is it? It's not under contract, so get as much done as you can without like breaking, and then you can move on to your actual contracted stuff after that, and just at least your agent can read whatever you've got done. That'll be something.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to know from her is the plot working, you know, even if she's got, you know, bullet point notes here and there, and I'm like, I will fill this in or whatever, you know, it's the general thing worth pursuing. And yeah, so we'll see.
Sounds to me like it is. I got that kind of excited. It feels like a real book buzz about it when you talk about it. So I think you'll be great. I just signed a bunch of books, and then I've done all the Mina and the Cult ones now because people can order them like the trilogy or book 2 and 3. So I've done all the Just Cult orders tonight, and then tomorrow night will be the book 2 and 3, 1 and 3. I don't think anybody will do 1 and 3. I think there's some 2 and 3s, and then some whole trilogies. So just have to get my 3 pens out. I got the teal pens out. I don't know where I've done my teal pen. I love my teal pen.
So my cat is screaming. I don't know if you can hear her. She has been locked out of the kitchen, and this is unacceptable.
All I can hear is Kev Russell, so I'm sorry. You can probably hear Kev scream. Human Russell. It's just real life. Real bees. Yes. I mean, My Girl is probably one of the most traumatizing things I've ever watched still. Have you watched it, Rosie?
Yeah.
I think I only watched it when I was younger, and even the thought of it now like makes me feel a bit teary. I can't cope. Yes, I mean, they really did it to us in those 80s and 90s films.
Yeah.
Hello. We're writing tonight, so I've been signing some books, writing a short story and writing another thing. And Rosie's been working on a fantastic adult fantasy project, so other people have been reading, but we have not tonight. They're at the lake, yeah, I haven't got back to that bit. Rosie knows. Rosie's read
I know.
I'm not. I don't think I. No, I would know. I'm not at a lake yet. Yes, it seems like quite a few of us are reading Invocations ready for the live show on Sunday. Oh, yay! Thank you. Very, very excited about that. It's going to be lovely. I've ordered cupcakes, and nice non-alcoholic beverages are going to be there as well. And it's always a weird mix of people when I do Doncaster ones, because it's people that have like travelled to kind of, you know, get books signed and stuff. And then my mum and dad will be there, mixed in with some people from work, mixed in with some of my friends. So it's always really nice, but like a properly eclectic group of people. I didn't bother with the London one this time. I really enjoyed it last time, but it was just a lot to organise and get there. So I just thought I'm going to be in London soonish for something anyway. So London people can wait a little bit. And I'm always going to be in London signing stuff. I can't seem to stay away. So I think it's bedtime, and I just heard a little person speak. So it's probably time to try and get him to settle down for the night now. And some minute you'll hear the outrage. You're not mummy. Yeah, mummy. Daddy will not suffice. Yeah. Daddy's. Oh dear. I don't really.
We better let you go.
I will.
I'm gonna also get ready for bed. So
it's been lovely. Good night, and thanks everyone. I'm gonna head off now, but I will see you all soon.
Thanks everyone. Bye.